Welcome to the Words to Empower podcast, featuring Bishop Frank Stewart, pastor of the Acts Ministry in Conway and North Little Rock. And now, Pastor Stewart.
She's wanting a birth. She's wanting a child. And the thing about Hannah is she wants a child. When this child is going to be born, she is going to leave him at the temple. Just think about that. This is a God thing. This is a God thing. She doesn't want it just something just for her to have. She's going to give it to God. Let's look at verse number 12. This is 1 Samuel chapter 1 and verse number 12. It says, and when Hannah was praying before the Lord, that Eli watched her mouth. This is Eli. This is the priest of the day. Now Hannah spoke in her heart, only her lips moved, but her voice was not heard. Therefore Eli thought she was drunk. So Eli said to her, how long will you be drunk? Put your wine away from you. But Hannah answered and said, no, my Lord, I am a woman of a sorrowful spirit. I have drunk neither wine nor intoxicating drink, but have poured out my soul before the Lord. Do not consider your maidservant a wicked woman, for out of the abundance of my complaint and grief I have spoken until now. You see that? She said just the complaint, her grief, her sorrow, she was pushing that out. She was pushing that out. And she had made a vow to God that if he gave her a male child, that she would give it back. Now, Eli is the priest. What Hannah is getting ready to birth is something that's going to take Eli's place. Because Hannah's giving birth to Samuel. And Samuel is going to be the one to bring a word to Eli concerning what God has said that is going to bring destruction upon Eli and his sons. So I want you to get this. This is 1 Samuel chapter 2. Now we're moving into what Hannah gave birth to. Hannah was barren, prayed to God, kept persisting, kept moving, kept crying out to God. She knew she was pregnant in her mind before she got pregnant in her body. She was pregnant. And when you look in the Bible, we do a series that we have on the 7 barren women of the Bible. 7 women in the Bible that were barren that God blessed to birth forth. And all 7 of them brought forth something very incredible into the world. And these were those that was not supposed to be able to give birth. But in 1 Samuel chapter 2, verse number 18, it says, but Samuel ministered before the Lord even as a child, wearing a linen ephod. Moreover, his mother used to make him a little robe and bring it to him year by year, when she came up with her husband to offer the yearly sacrifice. And Eli would bless Elkanah and his wife and say, the Lord gives you descendants from this woman for the loan that was given to the Lord. Then they would go to their own home. And the Lord visited Hannah so that she conceived and bore 3 sons and 2 daughters. Meanwhile, the child Samuel grew before the Lord. Now Eli was very old, and he heard everything his sons did to all Israel, and how they lay with the women who assembled at the door of the tabernacle of meeting. So he said to them, why do you do such things? For I hear of your evil dealings from all the people. No, my son, for it's not a good report that I hear. You make the Lord's people transgress. If one man sins against another, God will judge him. But if man sins against the Lord, who will intercede for him? Nevertheless, Eli's sons did not heed the voice of their father, because the Lord desired to kill them. In verse 26, it says, "And the child Samuel grew in stature and in favor both with the Lord and men." So here's Samuel. He is growing in a priesthood. A priesthood. And in the midst of the priesthood that he's growing, it is very corrupt. It is very polluted. And now here he is in a polluted and corrupt environment. That is very important, because many of us think that God will only place us in an environment that is perfect. He might birth us out of something, strengthen us, but he's going to put us in something that we will be able to minister and be effective in. Now watch this. Chapter 3. 1 Samuel chapter 3. "Now the boy Samuel ministered to the Lord before Eli, and the word of the Lord was rare in those days. There was no widespread revelation. And it came to pass at that time, while Eli was lying down in his place, and when his eyes had begun to grow so dim that he could not see, and before the lamp of God went out in the tabernacle of the Lord, where the ark of God was, and while Samuel was lying down, that the Lord called Samuel, and he answered, Here I am. So he ran to Eli and said, Here I am, for you called me. And Eli said, I did not call, lie down again. And he went and lay down. Then the Lord called yet again, Samuel. So Samuel arose and went to Eli and said, Here I am, for you called me. He answered, I did not call, my son, lie down again.
Stay tuned for more of Frank Stewart. And now for some special announcements.
Thanks for partnering with the Acts Ministries. We value your service and your donations. That's why we've made it easy to make contributions to support our ministry. Simply go to your web browser and click the search bar and type in actsministriesonline.org. Then click Donate Online. It's really that easy. For mobile giving, text the amount you wish to donate to 501-302-4242. That's Simple Give.
And now, more of Pastor Frank Stewart.
Verse 7 says, Now Samuel did not yet know the Lord, nor was the word of the Lord yet revealed to him. And the Lord called Samuel again the third time. So Samuel rose and went to Eli and said, Here I am, for you did call me. Then Eli perceived that the Lord had called the boy. Therefore Eli said to Samuel, Go lie down, and it shall be, if he calls you, that you must say, Speak, Lord, for your servant hears. So Samuel went and lay down in his place. Now the Lord came and stood and called as at other time, Samuel, Samuel. And Samuel answered, Speak, for your servant hears. Then the Lord said to Samuel, Behold, I will do something in Israel, at which both ears of everyone who hears it will tingle. In that day I will perform against Eli all that I have spoken concerning his house, from beginning to end. So here, Samuel is being called by the Lord. Look at that transition. Hannah, his mother, gave birth, the birthing of something bigger and greater, and that's Samuel. His work, what he was going to do, was going to change a nation, establish a nation. Samuel was. And now, before that can happen, what she gave birth to, hears the voice of God. I want you to think about that. She gives birth to something. Now God is calling Samuel. He's calling what she gave birth to replace the person or the thing that was training him. Eli was his spiritual father. Samuel is going to replace Eli. What is happening here, because Eli would not correct his son, God has stopped talking to Eli. He's only talking to Samuel now. Now, Eli knows what God is getting ready to do. He has an unction. God is not talking to him, but God says, I told him what he was supposed to do, and Eli didn't comply. See, Eli was not the culprit, but he allowed his sons as priests to defile the women of Israel and to defile the sacrifices that was given to God. So punishment and judgment is coming. And God is going to use the boy Samuel to tell Eli what is getting ready to happen. Brothers and sisters, let me say this to you, that the thing that God is trying to get us to birth forth into the world will be that thing that will bring about a dimension of vision, that we will be able to see what God has given in the thing that we birthed forth, how it is a blessing to so many. And not only that, think about this, because it's hard for us to comprehend this, that you can give birth to something that in years to come, or that thing can turn around and correct you, or the thing you gave birth to can actually teach and show you what God is saying. Now, it's a reason for that. It's a reason for that. And the reason here in the book of Samuel is that Eli was sinning by allowing his sons to stay in office, and what he had trained now is getting ready to speak to him. I really believe prophetically that there is a generation that is coming that is going to be a generation that will correct the previous generation. There's a generation that is coming that the previous generations have given birth to, that is going to correct those generations. Let me just say it where you can get it. Can you imagine giving birth to something that was designed to correct you? And I believe in these last days that God is preparing a generation to correct the previous generation. And if they receive it, then that generation also will be saved. But if they do not, it would be just like Eli. See, there's an Eli generation, and there's a Samuel generation. The Samuel generation that the Eli generation gave birth to is going to correct the previous generation, because at the end of the day, it is God doing all of that. So, brothers and sisters, I want you to put those together as we get ready to move forward to our 60-day countdown to the beginning of 2019. 60 days. And I believe that in the midst of us going through the 60 days, finishing 2018 real strong, but yet and still preparing for 2019, we're looking at an ending and a beginning. Strong finish and a prepared beginning for 2019. I believe, I know that God wants to do something big in all of us, great in all of us. He wants us to give birth to something that is bigger than what we are. But we must surround ourselves with the right people. We got to surround ourselves with people that know how to help us give birth to what has been placed in us by God himself. Remember what he said to Jeremiah: before I formed you in your mother's womb, I knew you. See, all of us was designed to outgrow the womb that we came out of, and actually to be bigger than that womb. So I'm excited. I want you to be excited, and I want you to stay tuned as we walk down the last 60 days of 2018 and move into 2019 and get ready for a year that we have never experienced before, and the birthing of things out of us that has been in us since the day we came out of our mother's womb. God bless you, brothers and sisters.
For mobile giving, text the amount you wish to donate to 501-302-4242.
The Acts Church in North Little Rock is located at 1224 Franklin Street. Morning Glory begins at 8 a.m. on Sunday mornings. Sunday school begins at 8:30 a.m. And for a powerful word, join us at 9:30 a.m. for our morning worship service. Bible study is each Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. At our Conway location, Morning Glory begins at 10 a.m. Sunday school begins at 10:30 a.m. Worship service begins at 11:30 a.m. On Thursday, our Bible class begins at 6:30 p.m. For more information, go to actsministriesonline.org or give us a call at 501-329-2055.
Thank you for tuning in to the Acts Ministry Podcast. The Acts Church is located at 1423 Indian Street in Conway and 1224 Franklin Street in North Little Rock, Arkansas. Tune in each day to hear an inspiring word from Pastor Frank Stewart.